So did this recent rain and snow make a difference in terms of helping out with our drought and the snowpack across Colorado? Let's take a detailed look. The answer is a little muddled. First of all, let's start things off with the good news side of things. The good news is we saw a lot of beneficial rain across the eastern plains. We saw widespread 1 to 2 inches along the I-25 corridor. In places like Pueblo, we picked up more than 10 inches of our typical annual precipitation from this one storm alone. That's good news. Now, the drought monitor, that hasn't been updated yet. Goes through Tuesday morning. So come next week, we're going to see some big improvements, I expect, to this drought monitor map. That's good news. The not so good news is if you look at the mountains, the snowpack, we did see an increase in snowpack. We saw some pretty substantial snow in some spots. Saw double-digit snowfall totals in the foothills. That's a pretty significant storm, even for the foothills for this time of year. This is pretty unusual for us, kind of a January, February-like storm that we saw at the beginning of May. The problem is that snow was pretty concentrated in just a few areas. Really, it was just the foothills and the I-70 mountains east of the Continental Divide. This is an upslope storm, so the mountains west of the Continental Divide, if you watched me from Vail or Aspen, you saw basically no snow from this storm. Southern Colorado saw some snow, but once again, mostly concentrated to the Rampart Range, the Wet Mountains, the Sangre Cristos. That's where you saw the snow. Unfortunately, we didn't see a lot of it in our western, and the majority of the mountains, frankly, didn't get much snow. So our snowpack, not that great. And we're going to be heading into a dry and warm stretch here for the next 7 to 10 days. And unfortunately, we're on pace to melt things off pretty quickly in terms of that snowpack. A lot earlier than usual. We're still just not in a good way in terms of our snowpack. No way to kind of slice and dice that any better. But the rain on the eastern plains and the I-25 corridor, good news. And even the mountain snow, even though it wasn't really that beneficial in terms of our snowpack, it was enough to slow down that snowpack melt somewhat. So certainly a good news storm, but in terms of that snowpack, not a huge help. But in terms of the rain on the eastern plains, it was a huge help. So there's that.